On a night dated 30th September 1988, Claire Redfield has a flashback of him and his brother, Chris Redfield, at the Raccoon City orphanage. At the orphanage, when every orphan is sleeping, Claire is woken up by an eerie creature who calls her friend. Claire wakes up and asks the creature what it wants. Upon which the creature leaves without saying anything. Chris wakes up as well, hearing all the noises beside his bed. Claire complains that she has seen the creature many times and that it was here again. Chris tells her to sleep as soon as she can before Dr. Birkin finds her awake. Neglecting what Chris said, Claire follows the lead of that creature and finds it in a room full of toys. Claire asks the name of the creature and she replies that her name is Lisa Trevor. Claire gets curious and asks her about her whereabouts. Lisa replies that she lives below. Dr. Birkin interrupts the finding and catches Claire. Chris covers the sneak out by saying that his sister sleepwalks after the death of her parents. In the next scene, Claire snaps out of the flashback when the creature approaches to touch her face. Claire is now in a truck with a truck driver and on her way to see her brother Chris. On her way, the driver is distracted while talking to Claire and tells her that she should stop by till they both arrive at Gatlin. Amidst this, the truck hits a woman. On the face of it, the woman seemed dead. Both the driver and Claire get out of the car and check the body. While they are arguing as to why this happened, the body resurrects and leaves. The dog in the truck keeps on barking to alarm the two of them. The two of them look back and shockingly find out that the body has left. The dog gets out of the car and licks the blood that is oozed out of the body of the woman. Claire looks at the forest beside her and stares at the resurrected woman. The movie then continues with an introduction to Umbrella Pharmaceuticals. Raccoon City was once the home of Umbrella Pharmaceuticals, but now it is just a barren city. In the first scene, it is depicted that Leon S. Kennedy, a rookie police officer, wakes up and leaves for his duty. He is found in a bar, asleep, where Albert Wesker places a ketchup bottle on Leon's head and bets Jill Valentine that she can't shoot the ketchup bottle without getting him to hit. Jill takes out an actual gun, upon which Albert gives her a BB gun to shoot the ketchup bottle with. Jill wins the bet and Leon wakes up. Then, the bar is visited by two police officers who recognize Leon as the recruit. The officers tell their a dead body has been found. The officers tease Leon for being a freshie at the police and then leave. Jill and Albert leave as well, and Jill introduces her to Leon saying that she means good company. In the subsequent scene, Leon and the lady at the bar have a conversation about Leon shooting his partner in the past. In the middle of the conversation, the lady's eye starts bleeding, upon which Leon asks her if she had visited a doctor to look it up. Suddenly, a crow rams in the glass of the bar and dies, which seems unusual to the lady and Leon both. The scene is then transitioned to the truck driver dropping Claire off at her desired place. The truck driver asks if the woman who was hit by the truck, her condition wasn't as bad as it seemed. Claire gives no relevant reply and gets out of the truck. The woman that was hit by the truck was infected. The dog that licked her spilled blood gets infected and bites the truck driver fiercely. Claire gets to Chris's house and knocks, but nobody comes to open up the door. She then goes around the house in the hope that Chris will open the back door. She looks to her side and finds out a kid waving at her, but this is short-lived as a woman creeps up to the windows and closes the curtains. Panicked by looking at such, Claire picks up the lock and trespasses the property. She stumbles upon pictures of Chris with Jill and then a photo of him with Dr. Birkin. This surprises Claire. Chris replies the astonishment by mentioning that she had gone away for 5 years and that Jill and Birkin were there for him. Claire says that she is back now and she surmises that there is something wrong with Raccoon City. She tells Chris about the woman that got hit by the truck she was riding in. Further, she mentions that she has been using chat rooms on the internet and that she has been talking to a guy named Ben Bertolucci. She plays a tape where Ben in a recorded session was telling Claire that the water has been contaminated and there has been a serious leak by the Umbrella Corporation. Ben also adds that the people of the town are in great danger. Soon after the tape ends, Claire tells Chris that it was her last talk with him, upon which Chris warns her that Ben might have been a dangerous person. Surprised by how Claire broke into Chris's house after such a long time without any contact, he leaves for work. In the next shot, Dr. Birkin's daughter, Sherry, wakes up saying that she was petrified by a green scary creature trying to scare her off. Dr. Birkin alarms his family to evacuate the house and get in the car with him. Sirens ring across the country. Chris leaves for the police station, RPD, after he thinks something is wrong across the town. In the next scene, a child hides under the table of Chris's house and an infected woman breaks into the house. She attacks Claire and tries to bite her, saying itchy tasty. At midnight, the featured team of cops in the movie are gathered at the police station. The chief officer informs everyone at the police station that he hasn't seen Marini and Dooley since they left for a mission at the Spencer mansion. As the officer is clutched about the situation, so the chief informs everyone at the police station to go find the two. However, as Leon is a freshie at the police department, so the chief compels him not to go. Wesker receives a message on his pager device to go and search his locker. Wesker approaches the locker and finds out a Palm Pilot device. Displayed on the device is a message by anonymous entities saying that Raccoon City will be destroyed at 6 a.m. In the next scene, Dr. Birkin, in a state of distress, drives his family in his car to escape the city, but he almost bumps into Claire, who recognizes Dr. Birkin from the memory of the orphanage. Dr. Birkin drives past Claire, and there stands the waitress from the cafe, who has now been infected, and the driver who Claire left, who is now fully infected. The driver drives the truck into the Raccoon Police Department. The truck catches fire and the driver walks into the police station fully kindled. Leon doesn't notice it as he is listening to some music and wearing headphones. The chief officer shoots the driver, and the Leon extinguishes the driver's dead body, which was on fire. Leon is befuddled at this point, and he approaches the chief officer's office to ask him what is going on. Upon this, the officer gives him no solid reply and sets to pack up and leave. Leon tries to call someone, but the phone lines across the city are not working. Leon tries to follow the officer in the search of answers, but he leaves eventually. Next up, excluding Leon and the chief officer, the team sets in for finding Marini and Dooley in a helicopter. On their way, they find a toppled car, which probably is the one the two officers left in for the Spencer mansion. Wesker stumbles across an infected crow while searching the car, which is shot by Jill afterward. The team leads the way to the Spencer mansion and enters it. Wesker advises that team will split up so that the investigation for Marini and Dooley can be wound up quickly. Cutting to the chief officer, he drives by in an attempt to escape the city. However, the roads are closed and the perimeter is secured by the Umbrella Corporation's soldiers. A resident of Raccoon City attempts to cross the over, but the soldiers start shooting him, and subsequently, the officer is forced to resort back to Raccoon City. The officer returns to the parking lot of the police department, where he is attacked by an infected dog. He tries to shoot it, but soon runs out of bullets. Suddenly he gets saved when Claire counters the dog by hitting him with the helmet. Leon comes from behind and asks Claire to show her hands. Claire claims that she is not infected, and then Leon lets her in. Leon, while being baffled, asks about the people who are trying to break into the police station and also about what is going on in the city. Claire asks about the armory in the police station, to which the chief officer replies and leaves, saying that he is trying to contact Chris, her brother, to exit the city through a helicopter to get to the Arklay Mountains because of all the possible ways to leave the city are blocked. Coming back to the investigating team, in the Spencer mansion, Aiken and Chris come across an infected person who seems to be feeding onto the body of Marini. The infected person walks toward Chris. Seeing this, Chris shoots the zombie and draws near Marini's body. Chris tells Aiken to find Dooley. Aiken and Chris are simultaneously attacked by infected zombies. They both start shooting to save themselves, but Aiken gets bitten and fed off. The helicopter pilot, Vickers, who was supposed to stay put, is also attacked in the next cut. Shifting the scene to Wesker and Jill, Wesker plays piano in a pattern that is displayed on the Palm Pilot he found in the locker, which opens a secret pathway. Vickers crashes in the lieu of escaping, crashes in the room where Wesker and Jill are, and blasts. Coming back to the armory, where Leon and Claire were headed, they find some weapons. While in the armory, Leon hears a man screaming for help in the basement, where he meets Ben Bertolucci, with whom was talking in the chat rooms, all locked up. Ben pretends that he has some useful information to tell Leon when he asks if the other guy is okay. Ben asks Leon to let him go, but Leon is in a state of refusal. Ben now grabs Leon's gun and threatens to let him go. In a state of fear of getting shot, Leon picks the keys from the drawer on the table and opens the cell. Ben is short of time before the other infected guy in the same cell attacks him. The same zombie tries to attack Leon, but Claire comes and shoots it with a shotgun. The zombie still gets back up. This time, Leon shoots it in the head with a pistol with the found round, and it finally dies. The chief officer tries to contact Vickers, but unfortunately, there is no contact because the helicopter had already crashed. Wesker tells Jill about the subtle work he has been doing for an anonymous person, same as the one who messaged him on the pager, to steal the G virus before human beings are obliterated from existence in the Raccoon City. He also tells Jill to get out of Raccoon City before it is later than 6 a.m., same as mentioned in the Palm pilot, as Raccoon City will be destroyed. Jill tries to stop Wesker to search for the rest of the team, but he does not. Going back to the police station, havoc wreaks and the zombies find their way inside the police station. The three, Leon, Claire, and the chief officer exit the police station while shutting the zombies that had broken inside the police station. At 4 a.m. the chief officer leads both Leon and Claire to the Raccoon City orphanage, where once Chris and Claire stayed as kids. Leon wanders off and finds a strange creature, same as the one Claire found as a kid when she wandered off her bedroom, known as Lisa. Leon is confused if he should shoot it or not. He calls for help, but when Claire and the officer arrived, the creature is gone. All of a sudden, the officer pulled him, and his body is ripped apart by the liquor. Claire and Leon are followed by the liquor. Claire tries to shoot the liquor, but the liquor doesn't die. Lisa comes to the rescue and tries to smother the liquor to kill it. The liquor's neck is then snapped, and it dies eventually. Lisa recognizes Claire from the orphanage and hands her the keys over to Claire to the secret passage to the mansion, and also points out that it is the second key amongst the keys. Claire opens the gate to a secret passage to the mansion. Claire, before entering the passage, thanks Lisa and leaves with Leon. In the next scene, Chris is aiming his gun at the incoming zombies and lurking in the mansion in search of his friends. He shoots several zombies during this course and loses his gun while fighting them. So, he lights up his lighter and finds the infected Dooley, who attacks him. Jill finds Chris, and she saves him. She tells Chris that Wesker has left them to die in the mansion and that they were betrayed. Next, Claire explores a room where she finds footage of all the orphans who stayed in the orphanages. She comes across footage of the experiments conducted by Dr. Birkin. Claire then acknowledges that the children who were released from the orphanage were at a point in life taken to experiment labs to conduct experiments concerning viruses, and Lisa was one of them. Wesker paves his way to the secret passage to steal the G virus and finds out that Dr. Birkin is there with his family. He asks Dr. Birkin to hand over the virus, but the doctor refuses to say that he had spent all his life working on the virus. Dr. Birkin tries to shoot Wesker, and they both end up shooting each other, but Dr. Birkin falls to the ground while Wesker hasn't taken much damage. Sherry and her mother scream out of terror and come near the doctor's body. The doctor's wife tries to shoot Wesker, but Wesker shoots her in the head, which he intended not to. The G virus that Wesker tried to steal is now been injected into the body of Dr. Birkin by himself, after which Wesker shoots him. Sherry hides and then points a gun at Wesker. Wesker, in his defensive capacity, points the gun at Sherry, but Chris and Jill come and save the girl. Jill shoots Chris and Chris tells Jill that there is a way that leads to the train beneath the mansion and they need to get there as soon as possible. The G virus vigorously starts affecting Dr. Birkin, and he begins to mutate into a fierce infected creature. Chris, Jill, and Sherry are chased by Birkin. The infected Dr. Birkin suspects Chris's presence and calls him out. He finds Chris and throws him away. He then chokes him and reminds him that both Chris and Claire could be one of the experiments. While he is doing so to kill Chris, Claire comes from behind and saves Chris. Chris, Sherry, Leon, and Claire unite on the train. Before Raccoon City is destroyed by a nuke, they all manage to get away on the train. A catastrophe breaks and the truck crashes underground under the debris of the mansion. Turns out that Dr. Birkin is not dead yet and had turned into a ginormous creature. Chris and Claire fight it. Chris shoots while Claire stabs it. Leon joins the fight and destroys the creature with a rocket launcher. Jill reunites with Sherry, Leon, and Claire and they manage to be safe from the nuke and walk out of the Spencer mansion. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the post notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.